Hundreds of eyes, some bulbous, some compound, some glowing with internal light, turned to stare at the humans. The silence was deafening. Kara forced herself to keep walking, remembering the months of preparation, the endless briefings. As Earth's lead diplomat, she carried the fate of humanity on her shoulders. "The representatives from Earth may approach the central podium," announced, a melodic voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Kara led her team down the long, transparent walkway. Below them swirled a misty representation of the galaxy, stars and nebulae slowly rotating in perfect miniature. The central platform hovered above the galactic core, a position of symbolic importance that wasn't lost on Kara. At the head of the council sat 5 beings of different species, each more alien than the last. The Primarch, a tall figure with iridescent skin that shifted colors with each movement, leaned forward. "Humanity stands before the Galactic Council as petitioners," the Primarch said, voice resonating with authority. "You seek recognition and protection under our laws. Yet your species has been observed engaging in behaviors that concern many of our members." Kara took a deep breath. Everything hinged on the next few minutes. "Honorable Primarch, esteemed council members," she began, her voice steady despite her fear. "We come before you not just as petitioners but as potential partners in the greater galactic community." A murmur rippled through the chamber. This wasn't the typical approach of a species seeking admission. Bold words from such a young species, rumbled a massive being to the right of the Primarch. Its body seemed composed of living stone, cracks glowing with internal heat. "Humans have existed as a spacefaring civilization for barely 2 centuries. Many here have watched stars live and die." Kara nodded respectfully. "Age brings wisdom, certainly, but youth brings perspective. Earth has achieved in 2 centuries what many species took millennia to develop." "Is that a boast?" hissed a counselor with features reminiscent of an insect, mandibles clicking in apparent irritation. "An observation," Kara replied calmly, "one that speaks to our potential value as allies." The Primarch's skin shifted to a deep blue. "We have reviewed your history, warfare, environmental destruction, tribalism that persists even now. These are not qualities we seek in our galactic community." This was the moment Kara had prepared for. Instead of defending these accusations as expected, she tapped a small device on her wrist. Immediately, the galactic map below them zoomed in on various worlds throughout council space. "Paxis 9, she said, indicating a green world. "Civil war for 3 centuries before joining the council." The map shifted. The Dorian Collective, who destroyed 2 of their own moons in mining accidents. Another shift. The Vrex Imperium, who enslaved the Tahiri for 1,000 years. Gasps and angry shouts erupted throughout the chamber. Kara raised her voice slightly. "We've studied your histories too. Every species here has overcome their violent past, their mistakes, their darkest instincts. That's precisely what makes this council great. Not perfection, but the journey toward it." The chamber fell silent again. The Primarch's skin had shifted to a curious purple hue. "You come before us accused, and your defense is to accuse others?" The stone counselor rumbled dangerously. Kara shook her head. "Not to accuse, to understand. Humans don't claim to be perfect. We're still growing, still learning. But we're doing so faster than any species in recorded galactic history." She gestured to her team, who stepped forward one by one. "Dr. Alan Foster, who developed the cure for the Regellian plague when your own scientists could not." A tall man with kind eyes bowed deeply. "Major Olivia Rush, who single-handedly negotiated peace between the Krell and Vorta mining colonies." A woman with close-cropped hair and a military bearing nodded sharply. "Professor Ben Williams, whose translation algorithm is now used by 37 council species." An older man with dark skin smiled warmly at the assembly. The Primarch leaned forward, skin now shifting between colors rapidly. "An impressive delegation, Diplomat Wilson. But 3 individuals do not represent an entire species. They represent human potential," Kara replied. "We don't ask for special treatment or exceptions. We ask for the same chance every species here was given, to prove ourselves worthy of membership." The insectoid counselor's antennae twitched rapidly. "The human makes a valid point, Primarch. Their accomplishments in their brief history are notable." The council members conferred among themselves, speaking in tones too low for Kara to hear. The waiting seemed to stretch forever, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. Finally, the Primarch addressed them again. Humanity will be granted probationary status for 1 galactic standard year. During this time, you will be observed. You will be tested. Your true nature will reveal itself. Kara bowed deeply. We accept these terms with gratitude. As she straightened, she noticed a tall figure in the shadows behind the council. Unlike the others, this being watched her with an intensity that sent a chill down her spine. Their eyes met briefly before the figure turned away. You are dismissed, the Primarch declared. Return tomorrow for the details of your probation. As Kara led her team from the chamber, she couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was just beginning. The council's test would be difficult, perhaps even dangerous, but it was the mysterious figure in the shadows that worried her most. Something told her that the fate of humanity might depend on more than just impressing the Galactic Council. Outside the chamber, Dr. Foster gripped her arm. Did you see that being watching us? The one behind the Primarch? Behind her, the human delegation reviewed data on glowing screens, preparing for tomorrow's meeting. The probationary terms would be revealed, and Kara knew they would be challenging. The Council never made admission easy, and Earth's accelerated consideration was already causing ripples of discontent among other species, waiting centuries for recognition. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. The door slid open to reveal a tall, willowy being with pale blue skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. Diplomat Wilson, the being said in a melodic voice. I am Lyra, assistant to Counselor Vex. Kara bowed slightly. An honor, Lyra. How may I help you? Counselor Vex requests a private audience. The room fell silent. Private meetings with council members were almost unheard of during probationary periods. Now? Kara asked, trying to hide her surprise. Immediately. Lyra turned without waiting for a response. Major Rush stepped forward. This could be a trap, she whispered. The stone counselor seemed particularly hostile. Or an opportunity, Dr. Foster countered. We need allies on the council. Kara made her decision quickly. I'll go. Keep working on our presentation for tomorrow. Following Lyra through the twisting corridors of the council station was like walking through an alien zoo. They passed chambers designed for methane breathers, gravity wells for high-density species, and aquatic environments for water dwellers. The diversity was staggering, yet all these beings had found ways to cooperate within the council framework. They entered a garden area filled with plants from 100 worlds, their scents mingling in a heady perfume. Waiting there was not the stone counselor as Kara had expected, but the mysterious figure she had noticed watching from the shadows during their hearing. Up close, the being was even more impressive. Tall and graceful, with forearms and skin that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its eyes were deep crimson with no visible pupils. Diplomat Wilson, the being said, voice surprisingly warm. I am Counselor Vex of the Shadari. Kara bowed deeply. Counselor, I wasn't aware the Shadari held a council seat. We prefer to observe from the periphery usually. Your arrival has prompted me to take a more active role. Vex gestured toward a bench carved from what appeared to be a single massive gemstone. Please sit. Kara did so, noting how the bench adjusted to her human physiology. You made quite an impression today. Vex continued. Few species dare to challenge the Council's prejudices so directly. Was that a mistake? Kara asked. Vex made a sound that might have been laughter. Quite the opposite. The Council respects strength and intelligence. You displayed both. Then why the probationary period? Why the tests? Tradition, protocol. Vex waved two of his four hands dismissively. But also necessity. The galaxy is at a tipping point, Diplomat Wilson. Surely you've sensed it. Kara studied the alien carefully. Our intelligence suggests increased military activity in the outer systems. Resource disputes. Border skirmishes. More than skirmishes soon. Vex leaned closer, voice dropping. The Drakari Imperium grows restless. They've never accepted council authority, merely tolerated it. Now they build warships and speak of galactic destiny. And what does this have to do with Earth? Everything. Vex's eyes seemed to glow more intensely. Humans are unique among council species. You adapt faster, think differently. In 2 centuries, you've accomplished what took others millennia. You're saying we could be useful in a conflict? Kara frowned. Earth didn't come here looking for a war. No one ever does. Vex stood suddenly, moving to a plant with spiraling blue leaves. Tell me, what do you see here? Kara looked at the plant. Something beautiful. Alien to me, but alive, thriving. The Zolari see it as sacred. The Baruvian would eat it. The Krith would use it as poison. Vex turned back to her. Perspective shapes reality, Diplomat Wilson. The Council sees humans as dangerous, unpredictable. I see potential allies against a coming storm. You're asking me to position Earth against the Drakari before we're even granted membership? I'm suggesting that how you handle your probation might determine more than just Earth's membership status. It might shape the future of this galaxy. A chill ran down Kara's spine. The tests they're related to this conflict. Vex's expression was unreadable. The first test will come sooner than you expect. When it does, remember that not everything is as it appears in Council space. Before Kara could ask more questions, Lyra reappeared at the garden entrance. Counselor. The Primarch requests your presence, she announced. Vex nodded. Our time is cut short, Diplomat Wilson. Consider what I've said, and perhaps keep our conversation between us for now. As Kara walked back to the human quarters, her mind raced. Vex's warning suggested hidden agendas within the Council itself. If a conflict with the Drakari was brewing, Earth could be caught in the middle before they even understood the players involved. Back in their quarters, Major Rush approached immediately. What happened? Kara hesitated, remembering Vex's suggestion for discretion. The counselor wanted to welcome us personally. Nothing more. Rush didn't seem convinced, but she didn't press the issue. Any progress on tomorrow's presentation? Kara asked, changing the subject. Dr. Foster nodded. We've prepared responses for any likely probationary tasks. Resource management, diplomatic scenarios, technological exchanges. He was interrupted by a deafening alarm that blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed along the corridors outside their quarters. Professor Williams rushed to a communication panel. What's happening? A mechanical voice responded. Security breach in Sector 7. All diplomatic personnel return to quarters immediately. Kara moved to the viewport just in time to see a small vessel firing upon the Council station. The ship's design was unlike anything in the Council registry. It's starting already, she murmured. What is? Major Rush asked, joining her. That was targeted, Major Rush said, pointing to a holographic map of the station. Sector 7 houses the communication array that connects to the outer systems. Dr. Foster looked troubled. Why would anyone attack the Council directly? It's practically suicide. Unless they wanted to send a message, Kara replied, thinking of Vex's warning. Or create an opportunity. Their door chimed urgently. When it slid open, Lyra stood there, her usually calm demeanor visibly shaken. The Primarch demands the human delegation's presence immediately, she announced. All Council members are assembling. As they followed Lyra through corridors filled with panicked station residents, Kara noticed security forces eyeing them with suspicion. Word of the attack had spread quickly, and already fingers were being pointed. The Council chamber was in chaos when they arrived. Representatives shouted over one another, while the 5 main councilors attempted to restore order. The Primarch's skin had turned a deep angry red. Silence, the Primarch finally roared, and the chamber gradually quieted. We have confirmed the attack was carried out by a ship of unknown origin. Communications with 4 outer systems are now offline. The Stone Councilor turned massive eyes toward the human delegation. Curious timing, wouldn't you say? Humans petition for membership, and suddenly we face the first direct attack on this station in 700 years. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Kara felt a wave of anger and fear directed at her team. Earth had nothing to do with this attack, she stated firmly, stepping forward. We came seeking peace and cooperation. Pretty words, hissed the insectoid counselor. Yet the attacking vessel used technology remarkably similar to Earth designs. This was news to Kara. She glanced at Major Rush, who shook her head slightly. This was either a lie or information they hadn't been given. We request access to your sensor logs, Major Rush said. If the ship resembled Earth technology, we might be able to identify its true origins. Convenient, rumbled the Stone Councilor. Give the accused access to the evidence. Counselor Vex, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. The humans are here as potential members, not prisoners. If they offer assistance, we should accept it. The Primarch's skin shifted to a thoughtful purple. Very well. The human military expert may examine the sensor data, but under supervision. As Major Rush was led away, Kara addressed the council again. While we await those results, we offer Earth's medical teams to assist with any injuries from the attack. Dr. Foster stepped forward. I've treated blast trauma in 17 different species. My team can deploy immediately. The offer seemed to shift the mood slightly. Several representatives nodded in approval. Accepted, the Primarch said. But make no mistake. If we find any connection between Earth and this attack, your petition will be denied and your world quarantined. As the emergency session adjourned, Kara noticed Vex watching her again. The Shadari counselor gave an almost imperceptible nod before disappearing into the crowd. Hours later, the human quarters had become a makeshift command center. Dr. Foster coordinated with his team treating the injured. Professor Williams analyzed communication patterns around the time of the attack. Kara paced nervously, waiting for Rush to return with the sensor data. When the door finally opened, Rush's expression was grim. "We have a problem." She projected images from her datapad. The attacking ship did indeed bear similarities to Earth vessels, though with significant differences. "This isn't one of ours," Rush explained, "but it's designed to look like it could be. Someone wants to frame Earth." "The Drakari?" Kara suggested, thinking of Vex's warning. Rush frowned. "I don't think so. The Drakari would have used more firepower, made a bigger statement. This feels more subtle, political," Williams added. "Someone within the council sphere who doesn't want Earth admitted." A chime from Williams' terminal interrupted them. "I've been analyzing communication traffic. There was an encrypted transmission sent just before the attack." "From where?" Kara asked. "That's the strange part. It came from within the council chamber itself. The implications were staggering. Someone on the council had coordinated with the attackers. But who and why target Earth specifically?" A soft knock at their door startled everyone. Kara opened it to find a small, rodent-like being looking nervously over its shoulder. "Diplomat Wilson?" The being squeaked. "I bring a message from Counselor Vex. Meet him in the memorial garden. Come alone." The being scurried away before Kara could respond. "It could be a trap," Rush warned. "Or our only lead," Kara countered. "Keep working on the data. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, alert station security." The memorial garden was deserted, its luminescent plants providing the only light. At its center stood a monument to species lost to various galactic catastrophes. Wars, natural disasters, evolutionary dead ends. Vex waited beside it, a dark silhouette against the glowing sculpture. "You took a risk coming here," Vex said as Kara approached. "Less risky than being framed for an attack on the council," she replied. "Did you know this would happen?" "I suspected something would occur. The timing is consistent with Drakari tactics. Create confusion, divide potential allies. Our evidence suggests the attack was coordinated from inside the council chamber." Vex's eyes narrowed. "Are you accusing me, Diplomat Wilson?" "I'm sharing information as allies might." The tension between them eased slightly. Vex moved closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "There is division within the council itself. Some fear human potential. Others see you as necessary allies against the Drakari threat." "And which group orchestrated the attack?" "Neither, perhaps. There are other players in this game." Vex reached into a fold of his clothing and extracted a small data crystal. "This contains security feeds from the chamber during the attack. Angles not provided to your Major Rush." Kara took the crystal cautiously. "Why help us?" "Because the division within the council runs deeper than you know. Some believe accommodation with the Drakari is possible. Others know war is inevitable." Vex's four hands clasped together in what seemed a gesture of sincerity. "I believe humans might tip the balance if you survive your probation." "Which grows more dangerous by the minute," Kara observed. "Indeed. Return to your quarters, Diplomat Wilson. Study that data, but be cautious who you trust with what you discover." As Vex melted back into the shadows, Kara couldn't help but wonder if that warning applied to the Shadari counselor himself. Kara gathered her team in their quarters, making sure their conversation couldn't be monitored. "We have evidence implicating a council member in the attack," she explained, showing them the footage. Major Rush studied it carefully. "This is damning, but dangerous. Accusing a counselor without absolute proof could backfire spectacularly. We need more evidence," Professor Williams agreed. "And we need to understand why. Why frame Earth? Why now?" Dr. Foster, who had been treating injured station residents, offered another perspective. The medical bay is full of rumors. Many species are saying this attack is just the beginning, that the Drakari are testing Council defenses. Or someone wants everyone to think that, Kara mused. She turned to Rush. What about the ship's trajectory? Could you trace where it went after jumping to hyperspace? Rush nodded slowly. Not with the data they gave us, but if I had access to the main sensor array, which is in the damaged section, Williams finished. Convenient. A plan began forming in Kara's mind. Foster, continue with medical relief. Your work is building goodwill we desperately need. Williams, analyze every communication from Counselor Zrak for the past month. Look for patterns, contacts, anything suspicious. And me? Rush asked. We're going to inspect the damaged section, officially to offer technical assistance, unofficially to access those sensor logs. Getting permission required navigating layers of Council bureaucracy, but Kara's diplomatic training served her well. Hours later, she and Rush floated through the damaged communication array in environmental suits. Repair drones buzzed around them, welding broken sections and replacing damaged components. The main data core should be intact, Rush said, consulting a schematic on her wrist display. It's heavily shielded. They made their way through twisted corridors until they reached a sealed door marked with alien symbols. Backup power is still online, Rush observed, examining the control panel. But we need access codes. Kara remembered something Vex had mentioned during their first meeting. Try entering the galactic date of the Council's founding. Rush looked surprised but input the sequence. The door slid open with a hydraulic hiss. How did you know that would work? She asked as they entered. Just a hunch, Kara replied, not wanting to reveal her source yet. The data core hummed quietly, its systems largely undamaged. Rush connected her device to an access port and began downloading sensor logs. We don't have much time, Kara warned, watching the entrance. Security will be monitoring this section. Almost got it, Rush murmured, fingers flying over her interface. Wait, this is strange. The logs show the attack ship emerging from hyperspace, but there's no record of it arriving through any of the designated jump points. Meaning what? It was already here, cloaked or hidden somewhere on the station itself. Rush's expression was grim as she disconnected her device. This wasn't an outside attack, it was staged. A sudden alarm blared through the section. Red lights flashed along the corridors. We've been detected, Kara realized. Let's go. They barely made it back to their quarters before security forces arrived, led by Lyra. Her usually serene expression was replaced by cold formality. The Council demands your presence, she stated. Immediately. The Council chamber felt hostile as they entered. Representatives from dozens of worlds watched with suspicious eyes as the human delegation was brought to the center podium. The 5 counselors looked down at them with varying expressions of anger and disappointment. The Primarch's skin had turned a deep, threatening black. Humans, the voice boomed. You have violated security protocols by accessing restricted areas without authorization. We were offering technical assistance, Kara responded calmly. You were stealing classified data, Counselor Zrak chittered angrily. Data pertaining to an attack your world may have orchestrated. Now was the moment of truth. Kara looked directly at Zrak. Interesting accusation, Counselor, considering you sent an encrypted transmission seconds before that attack began. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Zrak's compound eyes seemed to bulge with rage. Lies. Human deception. The Primarch raised a hand for silence. This is a serious accusation, Diplomat Wilson. Do you have evidence? Kara nodded to Rush, who projected the security footage for all to see. The recording clearly showed Zrak at a communication terminal, sending a transmission just before the alarm sounded. This proves nothing, Zrak insisted. I was contacting my homeworld about routine matters. Then you won't mind if we decrypt that transmission, William suggested. Vex, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. I second this proposal. If Counselor Zrak is innocent, he has nothing to fear from transparency. The Stone Counselor rumbled in agreement. The integrity of this council must be beyond question. Decrypt the transmission. Trapped, Zarak's mandibles clicked furiously. "This is an outrage. I am a counselor." "The transmission, Zarak," the Primarch insisted, skin shifting to a threatening dark purple. Before anyone could act, Zarak suddenly produced a small device from within his robes. "You understand nothing of what's coming," he chittered. "The Drakari cannot be stopped. Better to align with them than perish." He activated the device. Immediately, every screen in the chamber displayed the same image: a massive fleet of warships, clearly of Drakari design, moving through space toward Council territory. "This is happening now," Zarak announced. "The first wave of the Drakari advance. I merely ensured my species would survive what comes next." Security forces moved to apprehend him, but Zarak was faster. He pressed another control on his device. An explosion rocked the station larger than the first attack. Warning klaxons blared as the chamber lights flickered. "What have you done?" the Primarch demanded. "Disabled your defenses," Zarak replied smugly. "The Drakari fleet will arrive within hours. You can surrender or die." Chaos erupted in the chamber as representatives panicked. The Primarch called for order, but fear had taken hold. In the confusion, Zarak disappeared into the crowd. Kara gathered her team. This was his plan all along. Blame Earth for the first attack, then disable the station's defenses for a full-scale invasion. "And the Council is too divided to respond effectively," Rush added grimly. Vex appeared beside them, seemingly materialized from the shadows. "You've unwittingly walked into the center of a conflict generations in the making. Humans. Not so unwittingly," Kara countered. "You've been guiding us from the start." Vex's crimson eyes studied her. "Perhaps, but now we face extinction if the station falls. Then we need to restore those defenses," Kara decided, "and unite the Council against the real threat." As the chamber descended further into panic, Kara stepped onto the central podium and raised her voice. "Enough!" Her shout, amplified by the chamber's acoustics, cut through the chaos. Hundreds of alien faces turned toward her. "The enemy wants us divided," she continued. "But divided we all fall. Earth may be new to your galactic community, but we know something about facing overwhelming odds." She turned to her team. "Rush, you and Williams work on restoring the defense systems. Foster, coordinate emergency medical preparations. I'll help organize evacuation of non-essential personnel." To her surprise, representatives began volunteering to assist. The Stone Counselor stepped forward. "The human shows wisdom. We must work together or perish separately." As the Council chamber transformed into a command center for the coming battle, Vex moved beside Kara. "This wasn't the probationary test I expected for humanity," he admitted. "No," Kara agreed, watching her fellow humans already working alongside aliens of countless species. "But it might be exactly the test we needed." In the command center that had once been the Council chamber, Kara stood with the remaining counselors, studying tactical displays of the approaching Drakari fleet. 37 warships, the Stone Counselor rumbled. "The largest force they have ever assembled." "We have 14 defensive platforms operational again," Rush reported. "Enough to slow them down but not stop them." The Primarch, whose skin had settled into a determined blue hue, turned to Kara. "Your people have shown remarkable adaptability in crisis, Diplomat Wilson. Perhaps we misjudged humanity." "Save the commendations for after we survive," Kara replied, studying the tactical display. Something about the Drakari formation bothered her. "Their approach is too direct, too obvious." Vex moved beside her, forearms crossed in thought. "The Drakari are known for their frontal assaults. They believe in overwhelming force." "Yes, but..." Kara zoomed in on a section of space behind the station. "What if that's exactly what they want us to think?" "Rush, scan this sector." As Rush adjusted the sensors, Kara explained her suspicion. In Earth's naval history, a direct assault was often a distraction from the real attack. The sensors revealed what Kara feared: a second, smaller group of Drakari vessels approaching from the opposite direction. A pincer movement, the Primarch realized. "They mean to trap us between two forces. And we've concentrated our restored defenses on the main fleet," Rush added grimly. The station shook as the first long-range shots from the Drakari fleet struck their outer shields. Warning indicators flashed across control panels. "We need reinforcements," the Stone Counselor stated, "but our distress calls haven't been answered." "Because Zrak sabotaged communications," Williams reminded them. "We're still working on bypassing his encryption." Kara studied both approaching fleets, mind racing. "We can't fight them both. We need to choose our battlefield." "What do you mean?" the Primarch asked. "On Earth we have a saying, 'Don't fight the battle your enemy has planned.'" Kara pointed to the larger fleet. "They expect us to focus our defenses here, against the obvious threat. So instead, we evacuate the station." Gasps and protests filled the command center. The Primarch's skin flushed red. "Abandon the seat of the Galactic Council? Never." "Not abandon," Kara clarified. "Relocate, temporarily. We take everyone to the emergency evacuation modules, but instead of scattering, we move as one force toward the smaller fleet." Understanding dawned in Vex's crimson eyes. "Breaking through the weaker line while they expect us to stand and fight here." "Precisely. Once clear, we can rendezvous with any reinforcements that might be en route." The Stone Counselor rumbled in disapproval. "And leave the council station to the Drakari? The symbolic damage would be incalculable." "There's more," Kara continued. "Once the station is evacuated, we overload the power core." "Self-destruct?" The Primarch seemed shocked. "This station has stood for over 1,000 years, and can be rebuilt," Kara argued. "But if the Drakari capture it intact, they gain not just a symbol but a fortress at the heart of Council space." Silence fell over the command center as the counselors considered her proposal. Another impact rocked the station, stronger this time. "Shields at 60%, Rush reported. "We're running out of time." Finally, the Primarch nodded. "Implement Diplomat Wilson's plan. Begin evacuation immediately." The next hour was controlled chaos as thousands of beings moved toward evacuation modules. Dr. Foster ensured the injured were transported safely. Williams worked to wipe sensitive data from the station's computers. Rush and her team rigged the power core for remote detonation. Kara found herself in a corridor with Vex as they directed evacuees toward their assigned modules. "You never intended to join the council, did you?" she asked suddenly. "You were testing us for something else all along." Vex's expression was unreadable. "The Shadari have observed many species rise and fall. Few showed the potential of humanity." "Potential for what? To be soldiers in your war with the Drakari?" "To be leaders," Vex corrected. "The council has grown complacent, diplomatic to a fault. The Drakari have exploited this for decades, expanding their territory while we debated responses." Another impact shook the station violently. Lights flickered and emergency systems wailed. "We should go," Vex said. "Our module is waiting." As they made their way to the evacuation bay, Kara spotted a familiar insectoid form hurrying down a side corridor. "Zrak!" she called out. "Stop him!" Security forces moved to intercept, but Zrak had a head start. Kara and Vex pursued him through twisting corridors until they reached a small hangar containing a single ship, clearly prepared for his escape. "Traitor!" Vex called out. "You betrayed everything the council stands for." Zrak turned, mandibles clicking in what might have been laughter. "The council is obsolete. The Drakari are the future of this galaxy." "They'll discard you once you're no longer useful," Kara said. "That's what conquerors always do with their collaborators." "Better than extinction," Zrak replied, backing toward his ship, "which is what awaits you all." Before they could stop him, he darted aboard the vessel. Its engines glowed to life as the hangar doors began to open. Vex pulled Kara back toward the corridor. "Let him go. We need to reach our evacuation module." As they ran through the increasingly damaged station, Kara's communicator buzzed. It was Rush. "Final evacuation is complete. Only emergency teams remain. The power core is ready for detonation." "Good," Kara replied. "We're on our way to Module 7. They reached the evacuation bay just as the station suffered its heaviest hit yet. Structural supports groaned ominously. The Primarch waited at the entrance to their module. "The others have launched," the Primarch informed them as they boarded. We're the last. From the viewport, Kara watched as dozens of evacuation modules moved away from the station in tight formation. Their module detached and joined the others, accelerating toward the smaller Drakari fleet. "The main fleet has realized our plan," Rush reported, monitoring enemy movements. "They're adjusting course to intercept." "Too late," Kara said grimly, holding the detonator. She looked one last time at the council station, the massive structure now showing visible damage from the Drakari assault. "Now." She pressed the control. For a moment nothing happened. Then a blinding flash erupted from the station's core. The shockwave rippled outward, catching the vanguard of the main Drakari fleet. Ships tumbled out of formation, shields failing under the unexpected blast. "Forward thrust at maximum," Kara ordered. "Straight through the smaller fleet while they're distracted." The evacuation modules accelerated in perfect formation, presenting a smaller target than if they had scattered. The smaller Drakari fleet fired desperately, but most shots missed as the modules streaked past them into open space. "We've cleared their line," Williams announced triumphantly. But the victory was short-lived. Tactical displays showed both Drakari fleets regrouping, preparing to pursue. "They still outnumber us," the Stone Counselor observed. "And our modules have minimal defensive capabilities." A sudden alert from the communication system interrupted them. Williams' eyes widened as he checked the incoming signal. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace directly ahead. The viewports filled with new vessels, sleek, powerful ships of various designs, all bearing council markings. "The Fifth Fleet," the Primarch breathed, skin shifting to hopeful green. "They received our distress call after all." The newcomers moved into defensive formation around the evacuation modules, weapons charging as they faced the pursuing Drakari. "This is Admiral Lorne of the Council Fifth Fleet," came a gravelly voice over the communication system. "We stand ready to escort Council representatives to safety." The Drakari forces, now facing a prepared defensive fleet, slowed their pursuit. After a tense standoff, they turned and jumped to hyperspace, retreating to fight another day. A cheer erupted throughout the module. The immediate danger had passed. Kara felt a weight lift from her shoulders as she stepped away from the tactical display. Vex approached her quietly. "This is merely the beginning, you know. The Drakari will return." "I know," Kara replied. "But next time the Council will be united against them." "Thanks to humanity," Vex acknowledged. "Your actions today have accomplished what centuries of debate could not." The Primarch joined them, skin now a serene blue. "Diplomat Wilson, when we return to Council space, I will personally sponsor Earth's full membership, without further probation." Kara smiled tiredly. "Thank you, Primarch, but I think Earth has proven we're more than just members. We're partners." "Indeed," the Primarch agreed. "And perhaps something we needed even more, catalysts for change." As their module docked with the flagship of the rescue fleet, Kara looked back at the empty space where the Council station had once stood. Something new would rise there eventually. Not just a rebuilt structure, but a renewed purpose. The galactic powers had been shocked out of their complacency. Old alliances were strengthened, and new ones formed in the face of common danger. And at the center of it all stood humanity, the newest species in the Council, yet already redefining its future. "You were right about humans," the Primarch said to Vex as they prepared to disembark. "They do adapt faster than any species we've encountered." "Yes," Vex replied, crimson eyes fixed on Kara as she coordinated with her team. "And the galaxy will need that quality in the days to come. I've created a 5-part story about H,